My question for you guys, does the pose of this figure feel very familiar? And if your answer is yes, your suspicions are valid because this is an exact copy of this original scale figure over here. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven. With this week's Figure News Fix, we will be taking a look at anime scale figures as well as third-party resin figures that are on pre-order this week. From the 19th of June all the way to the 24th of June 2023. I actually struggled to come up with a title for this week's Figure News Fix video because, well, at least to me, there isn't many interesting stuff going on this week, and the number of resin figures on pre-order, fewer than usual as well. Anyways, let's hop into AmiAmi.com, and as usual, we take a look at the rankings on top. In third place, this is the main topic for today's Figure News Fix. That figure of Miyamoto Musashi really came out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting it. And then, interestingly, well, this isn't exactly a Bishoujo figure, but let me mention it for a second. John Wick in 5th place, action figure. 7th place, we have a pop-up parade L of Megumin, one of the better looking pop-up parades I've seen in recent months. In 8th place, that is Tenito Kadokawa's affordable series of figures. That character is from that reincarnated as a sword, that seasonal anime. I haven't watched that anime yet, by the way. And that about rounds things up for the top 10 as far as scale figures are concerned. On the 24th of June, nothing when it comes to scale figures, and we quickly move down to the 23rd of June. This is where we see a few scale figures, as usual Fridays, right? So the first one over here, this is something unusual. I mean, we are looking at Furyu over here, Phoenix. They're making figures from Yu-Gi-Oh now. Dark Paladin, 1/7 scale at almost 30,000 yen, but even though I'm not exactly a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, I used to play the card game very briefly when I was in like elementary school or so. This figure looks fantastic though, and I do think that it isn't a bad idea to make figures of very select Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. I don't think this is the first one Furyu has announced, right? There were others. Of course, we are not going to talk about Magician Girl. A few figure brands have made them. But as far as other figures of Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, I think there were the three-headed dragon or something like that, which Bandai Omega House has made one before. Can't recall many. And, you know, this thing for 30,000 yen, I wouldn't say it is too bad of an offer. I mean, the base looks fantastic in this one. I'm not going to lie. I think this figure, if this one had been a bit cheaper, like 25k, this would be a really convincing purchase for any Yu-Gi-Oh fan. But 30k nowadays, unfortunately, is starting to become the normal for scale figures. And we all know how Furyu loves to overprice their figures, right? Up next, from Persona 5 Royal, we have Haru Okumura Phantom Thief version at 1/7 scale by Amakuni, 23,000 yen, which is on the low side of things, considered that, this number one, this is a 1/7 scale coming with accessories, a chair and table set over there. And number two, this is Amakuni we're talking about. They are among like top 5 the best figure brands out there. However, to me, 23,000 yen is still expensive for this specific figure because to me this figure looks kind of underwhelming for the standards of Amakuni. Amakuni, they usually make figures that are a lot more detailed and the paintwork has more shading or gradient, something like that, you know. So when I look at this figure over here, it doesn't look like something Amakuni would do. It is a bit like slightly lower standard than their usual. So I have no idea what is going on. Maybe, Amakuni just decided to license this specific sculpture, this specific model from the sculptor. That is what I'm thinking, because Amakuni has been making Persona figures for a while, right? For many years already, and they just decided to go with this one. That's what I'm thinking over here. Up next, oh, spicy. KD called Spice and Wolf. Yeah, Wise Wolf Holo, only 14,000 yen. No, 1/7 skill. I thought no skill was mentioned. Yeah, 14,000 yen is really low for 1/7 skill, but then again, she's wearing nothing. The entire torso and body, right, that is just color injected PVC and ABS, right? They don't really have to paint it that much other than giving it a protective coating. All they had to do with the painting is the hair and the tail. So it is no wonder that this one is very affordable, and I bet that if Good Smile posted this on Twitter or Instagram, it is going to stir up some SJWs. But really, we anime fans, we don't really care at all. Not many pictures over here, only 3 pictures, but then really there's nothing to see. Good addition to your collection, especially if you are a big fan of Spice and Wolf. Quite the classic actually. The next one over here, this 1/6 scale figure of Lucy Heartfilia by Orca Toys. She is from Fairy Tail. I think everyone knows that. This is the weirdest figure of the week to me, in my opinion, in terms of the decision making from Orca Toys. Okay, normally you would want to put one version on pre-order only, and then after it sells out after release, maybe after a year, you put up a second version for pre-order for those who missed out the first version, and then you can repeat it again for a third time. Yeah, this one over here, this third version. So in that sense, I have no idea why Orca Toys decided to put all 3 up on pre-order at the same time, because indirectly this will affect your sales numbers. Like, everyone will just pick their favorite on day 1, today, when they go on pre-order. And then after that, they won't bother again. So, weird decision coming from Orca Toys really, from a business standpoint. As for the brand Orca Toys, right? They are a bit like A+ and KO6, except that they don't always make big booby figures, right? They make figures that are value for money in terms of the size, the scale to the price ratio over here. So this thing is just under 22,000 yen, and she is really tall at 1/6 scale. Orca Toys have their occasional paint QC related issues, but nothing too major. They don't really screw up that often, you know. Like I said, that typical B-grade average figure company who offers value to customers, to us collectors. So, not necessarily a bad purchase for this one. Pick your favorite color, or if you want all 3, then just go for it, you know. Personally, if you were to ask me, my favorite is probably the very first version over here. Yeah, simply because those purple-violet color stockings are so striking. I love vibrant colors. Up next, we have Fight Break Sphere Girl series, Xiaxun 1/7 scale from Yuewen Goods, Chinese brand for sure. 8,330 yen for 1/7 scale figure. I've seen this figure company, this past month or so, there are 2 or 3 new Chinese figure companies where they offer really low prices for their 1/7 scale figures. I know that we shouldn't expect too much in terms of detailing and paint gradient, paint work, paint detailing and so on. But then again, this is a plenty simple figure. She shouldn't cost too much. If a Japanese figure company made this one, I would say this might fall between 13,000 to 16,000 yen. Yeah. If the figure turns out to be any good, like no errors, no quality control issues, and they just give us what is being shown in these product photos, 8,300 yen. Man, this is not a bad purchase at all. As for the character origin, yeah, I know nothing. As usual, I'm not familiar with Chinese origin stuff, be it a game or light novel or anything else. Up next, we have Pop-Up Parade Megumin Bunny version, L size, 7,500 yen. And this is definitely one of the better looking Pop-Up Parade L figures I've seen in recent months also. I myself am very interested. I mean, this is quite affordable, and Megumin is a very likable character. Konosuba is one thing, but in all of Konosuba, I think Megumin has the most fans, right? She is more popular than Aqua to a certain extent. I would say this one is a must-have for Megumin fans, even though we never see her in this outfit in the anime. Should you pre-order? I mean, this is a pop-up rate. Now, this is a tough question even for me. Personally, if I want this badly, I won't pre-order it simply because it is a pop-up rate. And by the way, this is made by Max Factory, so higher chances are this one is going to turn out decent, but I don't think it is a bad idea to wait until after release. I don't think a pop-up rate of Megumin will become too rare very soon. Up next, another pop-up rate. This is the regular one from that TV anime Watashi no Yuri wa Oshigoto Desu. Yeah, I actually tried a couple of episodes, 2 or 3 episodes. I couldn't stand it. I didn't like the anime, so I dropped it. Hime Shirasagi, 4,080 yen. My comments are the same as usual. Wait until after release before picking one up. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they handle those collars over there. You see that green color stripe along her uniform? Yeah. High chances are paint bleeding or other irregularities are going to happen if the quality control is not up to par. Up next, Union Creative and Original Characters again. They are really focusing on this kind of figures nowadays. 92M illustration Kinshi no Ane Date-chan swimsuit version, only 18,130 yen. Basically, this is close to a 1/7 scale bikini swimsuit figure, and you see how some figure companies out there, right? They make a 1/7 scale swimsuit figure and they're asking 25,000 yen, sometimes higher than that. Yeah, that is seriously a problem. At least this one over here, to me, I won't be interested in a figure like this because this is too dull, too boring to look at, not much colors and so on, very plain bikini, but at least the price reflects that. I think that this one should be around 16,000 yen even, should be lower. This is just white bikini, you know. But then we'll see, because most of the time, regardless of what I say about these original characters, like how boring or plain looking they are, because the artists behind these illustrations are so popular, they actually sell out and Union Creative had to re-release them. The next one over here, this is like top 2 my favorite figure this week. This one is in second place, by the way. Sutora illustrated by Tamano Kedama, 1/7 scale by OMH, 22,000 yen. I believe that OMH is Omaha, which is a Chinese X-rated figure brand. They have been around for at least a couple of years, maybe longer than that, I have no idea. But this isn't a new name. They shortened their name, I think. Despite a 1/7 scale, this is a lolly character, so this won't be a big figure, but given that you're getting an entire bait, yeah, 22,000 yen isn't too bad really. I love my lollies, I've mentioned it before in the past, and the main reason why I like this figure so much is down to her face. I really like the face expression over here. And given that I am very interested in this obviously X-rated figure, I'm praying that Omaha does a good job on the face over here, because depending on how the face of this figure turns out, this will make or break the figure. That is what I think. Yeah, you can strip her down, you can display her nude, but to me that is not really the point over here. I would still display the figure with her clothes on because, hey, being safe for work is one thing, but then I think the figure stands out more in her outfit, right? I've bookmarked this figure. I'm not sure if I would pre-order one, but I'm actually considering to do so, yeah. And that's all for 23rd of June, Friday. On Thursday, 22nd June, there are a couple of very nice scale figures over here. This first one, yeah, this is my favorite figure for this week. First place, Fate Samurai Remnant. We have Berserker Musashi Miyamoto, 1/7 scale for 28,000 yen by KT Model Plus. First time I'm seeing this brand, this name. So the gist I'm getting over here is that this is like Musashi Alter, like we have Saber Alter, right? This looks like Musashi Alter to me, Berserker class. And to be honest with you guys, this figure came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. There were no teasers online, no leaks at all. And suddenly one day on the 22nd of June, they just put this figure on pre-order. And me being a sucker for details, look at the back of this figure. This is amazing. Wow, I want this figure badly. I'm not sure if I would pre-order this one, but at this point I would say quite unlikely because FGO figures, they are not very difficult to find after release. Not to mention you'll get a bigger discount sometimes compared to the early pre-order discounts, you know. If there is one thing I don't like about this figure, I think if you watch this channel for quite some time, you already know the answer. Yes, that plastic rod supporting her knee right there, which is absolutely necessary with a figure like this. The weight distribution isn't balanced. Yeah, the figure is going to lean, or the foot peg might even break if there is no additional support. However, my initial impressions based on these product photos at least, yeah, very positive, and I really hope that KT Model Plus, whoever you are, I've never heard of you, please deliver on the details and the paintwork, because it is so easy to screw up fine details like this with paint bleeding. Yeah. Up next, freeing B-Style 1x4 skill. Yeah, Tiryu Lunatic from True Love Go Darkness. She is like Yami-chan but male version. Two different characters by the way, but I call her Yami-chan mommy version or male version. Standard 38,500 yen and 1x4 skill. That is like the minimum price for 1x4 skills by freeing nowadays. Yeah, if you are collecting to love 1x4 bunnies, then this one is a must-have. As usual with freeing, we all already know by now, they won't re-release it. If they do, the stockings are gone. Yeah. Up next, from Saekano, we have Megumi Kato from Fat Company, only 18,000 yen. Fat Company is so random in a way that some of the figures are relatively overpriced, but sometimes they offer value, just like this one over here. In the end, this is just another Megumi Kato figure. My favorite is still the one by Good Smile, which they did re-release once. This one is not a bad one either. And Max Factory also has an excellent figure of Megumi Kato, where she is jumping out like floating posts. That one was an excellent figure, many people liked it. If there is a reason why I would like to have this figure, it is because this one is very photogenic. I mean, you look at this photography work over here. Yeah, looks very natural, very casual, and that is what I like about this figure. Up next, Kotobukiya at FXJ, we have Gabimaru from J Hell's Paradise Jigokuraku. 14,000 yen, very affordable. I think for real, was it? Yeah, I think for real, they placed a couple or a trio of Hell's Paradise figures on pre-order. They were way more expensive than this one. I don't remember the price anymore. I think it was 23,000 yen or so. So Kotobukiya is coming up with one that is very affordable. However, I do believe that this is quite a small figure because of the pose of the figure over here, not to mention that Kotobukiya at FXJ is more like 1x8 scale equivalent. This guy is a short guy. Yeah, so this is not going to be a big figure. Let's have a look at the dimensions. Yeah, 14 centimeters. 14 centimeters in this crouching pose, not too bad really. Up next, we have an affordable figure from Furio, Tenitol series, Marisa Kirisame, 7,700 yen. Yeah, because this is Toho, they just had to slap a premium on it, right? Because most Tenitol figures, they are around 5,800 yen or so. This one is like an additional 2,000 yen on top. The product photos look great though, and even with a slight premium on top, this is still a good purchase. I don't recommend every single Tenitol figure. For example, those high Q characters, right? Those were horrible. However, this one over here from under the same series, this one looks a lot better. Oh my god. The base looks like... the base is horrible, but 7,700 yen, I think I can forgive that. Up next, another Tenitol figure. There we go, 5,800 yen. Normal Tenitol figure price. Yeah, Roxy from Mushoku Tensei. This is the Flower Fairy version. Alright, so there are so many figures of Roxy out there. Scale figures. This one is one of the more affordable offerings, and her face really looks good over here. This is also something I can recommend actually. But then again, maybe don't be too rash. I don't see a need to pre-order it. Yeah. This feels like another one of those Ram and Ram figures, you know, except that you replace the head of Ram with Roxy. It feels that way to me. Up next, also from Untitled series, we have Fran and Teacher from Reincarnated as a Sword. 6,450 yen. Okay, this one is also a bit more expensive than usual. My guess over here is the base. The base is part of the reason why the price is slightly higher. Looks great as well. I mean, my attention is on the sword. I always pay attention to detailed parts. The sword looks great, looks rather detailed for the price you're paying for. I'm actually thinking of getting one out of curiosity, you know. It looks quite convincing for 6,500 yen, seriously, quite convincing. I don't know why Untitled is so inconsistent. They have a few really bad looking figures, and then we have today the ones we're looking at today, all three of them look great. Now we move down to the 21st of June where we see a new figure brand again. Chinese brand, by the way. So the first one over here, we have Iju Senki series Sniper Karihime limited distribution 1/7 scale by Chiang Chiu. This one is 26,400 yen. You're getting some bonus item over there. Is that a wall scroll? Let me have a look. Mini acrylic character plate. Okay. Parts can be casted off. Okay, so this is a cast offable figure. If you're not interested in acrylic plate, yeah, the price is slightly lower, though the difference is so small, a few hundred yen, I would just go for the more expensive one in this case. I know nothing about this brand Qiangqiu, my first time seeing this name, this brand. And when I look at this entire figure, I was asking myself, is this from Arc Knights or Girls Frontline or Azalane or a combination of more than 2 or 3 different series? Because, how do I put it? It does feel like an Azalane character and a Girls Frontline character mixed together at the same time. Yeah, I think Azalane had this girl with those ears, can't remember the name anymore. And then Sniper, yeah, when we see firearms we think of Girls Frontline. However, the character design, while not feeling very original, overall the figure is still extremely attractive. At 26,400 yen, the entire package you're getting over here with that diorama base over there, kind of, not really a bad figure at 1/7 scale. And if you were to pre-order this solely because you liked the character design, I won't blame you at all. I do understand that sentiment because, seriously, resembling Girls Frontline or Azalane is not a bad thing. Yeah, this is something very attractive, I do admit that. And here we have the second character from the very same series. This is Tactician Mianji limited distribution version. Same price, 26,400 yen, or slightly lower if you are not interested in the acrylic character plate. I prefer the one earlier. Yeah, this one looks great as well. Okay, this one looks a bit random to me. Like, you're giving us what looks like a beach, a sand base over there. And then there happens to be a desk with some liquor on it. And she is dressed up in a swimsuit with a rifle. Yeah, I think the one thing that looks a bit out of place is that small desk over there with the liquor on it. It doesn't look like something you would bring to a beach. The kind of table or furniture you bring to a beach is something like, something foldable, collapsible. I think you have an idea of what a bench or a desk on the beach looks like, the portable kind. So it looks out of place over here. However, this is also a value purchase for the very same reason. You're getting a lot of things for 26,000 yen. Would you go for this pair of figures from a relatively unknown, unheard of Chinese brand? 26,000 yen each is not cheap, you know? Let me know down in the comments below. Now back to this page, we move up to 20th of June. Yeah, quite a bunch of scale figures on a Tuesday. Surprisingly, the first one we have Roxanne Bunny version. Oh yes. Isekai Meikyu de Haremu wo, yeah, we just call this series Isekai Harem. Of course, I did watch it. The animation on the TDs is pristine. The book physics was fantastic. Yeah, you need to watch it if you haven't watched this anime yet. Quite a shame, only 12 episodes. I want more. 36,300 yen is, yeah, kind of standard price for a 1x4 skill. And if you were to ask me, can I recommend this one? Free Input puts up new 1x4 skills on pre-order almost every week. This one I can recommend simply because it is a bit different from their other 1x4 skills out there. I mean, we can't overlook those big sacks of fat on her chest, right? Yeah, this one is quite a bit different over here. This is one of very few free ink 1x4s which I can recommend you guys to pick up. Up next, from KD Call, we have Kuma Bear Punch Yuna. This is a Kadokawa special set going for 24,200 yen, and there's a standard version 20,320 yen. So the special set, what does it come with? Kuma Euro big acrylic stand 18 centimeters. I don't think an acrylic stand that is this small is worth an additional 4,000 yen. That is what I personally think. Okay, this figure though, I'm not sure if we are actually getting real fabric or the material just looks like fabric but it is still PVC. This is something very interesting. I mean, now we look at the closer up pictures over here. You see that? Yeah, it almost looks like real fabric, and I believe that it is. And this isn't common in 1x7 skill figures, but if you were to ask me, do I like real fabric on a skill figure, I would say no, I'm not a fan of it. Personally, I would prefer that you make the figure in standard PVC and ABS, but you put some texture on the surface and then you give it a very nice weathering shading finish with the paintwork. That is what I prefer. To me, using fabric in scale figures is like an easy way out to cut cost. You don't have to paint anything, you don't have to do any detailing, yet you make the figure appear a bit special compared to everything else in the market. And for that reason alone, to me it feels more like a cost-cutting measure rather than an actual attempt to make the figure different. Yeah. Up next, from Emon Toys 1x7 scale Asuna, this is the Goddess of Creation version from SAO Alicization War of Underworld, which is like Season 3 Part 2, going for 25,240 yen. This one isn't the best looking Asuna figure out there, but not a bad one at the same time. You guys have so many choices when it comes to Asuna. To me, it is difficult to differentiate which is which sometimes. I remember that Genko had a figure of Asuna and the other characters with those wings. I actually like that one quite a bit. And the one made by Alter, the original Asuna, that one was also very decent as well. I've really lost track. As for this one, Emon Toys, right, the figures they make is actually quite good. They are a figure company which I can recommend you guys to pick up their figures if you're not familiar with them. Their figures are around Good Smile company level, their scale figures. Not too bad, quite decent. Up next, we have a Pop Operate Little Witch Academia Atsuko Kagari 4,080 yen. Once again, same comment from me, wait until after release. Though I don't see Good Smile messing up this one. The kind of details you can see on this figure, the way the character is designed, yeah, very difficult to mess up something this simple, right? This is probably one of the worst scale figures of the week. From ReZero, we have Elsa Grand Height, Beautiful Bowel Hunter, 1x7 scale for 20,130 yen. To the credit of Helios, which I'm not familiar with the figure, I think I've heard this name once in a while. 20,000 yen is pretty low for a 1x7 scale nowadays. This figure, when I look at the product photos, it just feels so weird, and I'm not sure how to describe it, because over here in this picture I'm showing on screen, it feels like she has two left eyes, if you get what I mean. It's like you take the decal, you place it on her left eye, and you take the left eye decal and place it on the right eye. Yeah, something like that. And then the next picture over here, this close-up picture, she looks a bit more normal. So it is kind of like you're looking at someone who is obviously psychotic. So at times you look at the figure on the shelf, it looks wrong. Yet at the same time, when you pay attention and look at her closely, it feels like there is nothing wrong. Meanwhile, this picture over here, from this angle, it looks wrong again. And then finally, this angle over here, low angle view, you look at the figure from bottom up. This one looks the worst. It almost feels like borderline Ahegao face, Ahegao eyes, like looking up like this, you know. So yeah, I absolutely have no idea what is going on with this figure. Was it doing photography? The eyes were very reflective because it is very glossy. So from certain angles, it looked very weird. This is just my speculation, by the way. Or Helios is really trying to project this figure and this character as somehow being psychotic and looking wrong at times. I have no idea at all. So what do you think about this figure? Because when I look at Facebook groups, figure groups, and even on my page, when I posted this figure, I'm seeing a lot of haha reacts, laugh reacts, even though there is nothing much being mentioned in the comments section. So I believe that I'm not the only person who thinks this figure looks really weird. Tell me what do you think in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinion over here. Up next, we have a very interesting situation over here. So this figure of Momoka Sakurai Rose Flow version, 1/7 scale by Solar Rain, 25,650 yen, very pricey actually. But then the thing over here is that this figure is supposed to be released this August 2023. So we are just 2 months away. What happens is that this is a so-called second pre-order period. So did Solar Rain manufacture too many units of this figure while they did not get many pre-orders? So they are starting to collect pre-orders again for a second time? I'm not too sure, but this is definitely the first time I've seen such a thing as second pre-order period, 1 or 2 months before the figure is being released. This figure is incredibly detailed and the base is kind of unique as well. I would recommend any Idolmaster fan to pick this one up. And lastly, on Ami, we have Horror Bishoujo IT Kotobukiya, Pennywise 2017 monochrome version, 1/7 scale, almost 13,000 yen. Under normal circumstances, I normally don't like figures that are kind of dull in colors. They're not nice to look at. But there is something really special going on with this figure of Pennywise over here. Despite the color scheme, yeah, she doesn't look that bad to me. 13,000 yen is incredibly affordable, and if you are a fan of Pennywise, yeah, maybe pick one up. The same figure may have been released in the past before in normal colors. And then now we move on to niningame.com for that few figure that is not on Ami because they don't want to sell it to international customers. Yeah. So on the homepage, as usual, we have Nikan Shoujo, these very X-rated figures from inside. Go and check out yourself. I'm not putting them on screen for obvious reasons. And then moving on to the 3 figures of this week, which were not on Ami. Okay, the first one here. Yeah, native exclusive, right? Mate L, 1/5 scale. Nice. Original character from native, 36,690 yen. Oh, this one is actually not on pre-order yet. Soon available. I believe it is next week where you can pre-order it. Now let's have a look. Okay, to me this is just another maid figure. There's so many maid figures out there, but at least you're getting a huge fan over there where she is cooling off herself. So in a sense, this is a relatively unique maid figure. Yeah, something different for once, and at 1/5 scale, man, go for it. Up next, from Rascal Does Not Dream of a Sister Venturing, that anime where Mai Sakurajima is from, we have Kaede Azusagawa 1/7 scale. Why US dollar again? Anyways, I remember this girl for asking for her butt to be kicked by the main character. Yeah, that is how I remember her, the ass kicking part. Okay, so this is Aniplex Plus exclusive, which is why it isn't on Ami, but you can pre-order it on Ninin Game. This is the Aniplex Plus page for this figure, and the Japanese price is, yeah, 18,900 yen. In my opinion, this is incredibly expensive, 19,000 yen. This is just a plain schoolgirl with a very simple pose. 19,000 yen. This is more like 15,000 yen tops, right? And lastly, we have Binding Creator's Opinion. Original character 1x4 skill, Chitoyo Ishiwata. This one, 42,390 yen. You'll see the weird part with Ninin game. One page would be in US dollar, the other page would be in Japanese yen. Okay, so original character stuff depends on whether you like the character design. As for me, not a fan of this character. Yeah. Quite thick, and some of you like thick girls, understandably. Not a fan of this one. And that is all for anime scale PVC figures for this week. Now we shall check out third-party resin figures at OzGK, which is an affiliate partner of this channel. As usual, every single resin figure I'm about to cover, there is an affiliate link for you to purchase or pre-order one in the descriptions below. If you are interested of any of the figures, please make use of this channel's affiliate links. It will help out this channel a lot. Now we're in OzGK, and as usual, we need to scroll down to the newest pre-orders section, and there is that view all button at the bottom. I have chosen most of the female characters, and I'm going for unlicensed third-party resin figures. So even if they place licensed genuine skill figures on pre-order, I'm skipping past them. I don't want to mix up things, you see. Okay, and there are lesser resin figures this week compared to the previous weeks. As usual, I will be focusing on female characters mostly. The first one over here, this is also one of the best resin figures this week from XPIC Studio and ACY Studio with Taiho from Azalane. Suddenly, there is a huge deluge of Taiho figures in the recent weeks somehow, both from genuine brands and also third-party brands. This one does not have an official pricing yet, other than a $100 deposit. This is a 1x4 skill, by the way. Also, I'm waiting for more pictures. There are not many pictures being released by the manufacturer yet. Yeah, this is going to be really tall. Though I do question whether those balloons, those love-shaped balloons around the figure are necessary at all. I would display this figure without those balloons if I were an owner of this figure. So this figure at 1x4 scale would be, no dimensions yet, but I'm predicting at least 50 centimeters tall. Up next, from Dragon Studio and Pop Studio, we have One Piece Black Maria. No price as well. This is only a $100 deposit for now, and this does not have a skill either. Wait for more details to appear before pre-ordering something, right? There are two different versions, as you can see. Personally, I would prefer the black bikini. Yeah. Up next, this is also one of the better figures of this week. This is actually a 1x6 scale action figure. For example, you know those Hot Toys 1x6 scale Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and so on. Yeah. We have a 1x6 scale action figure of Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy. This is by Game Toys Studio, and the full price of this action figure is $326, which in my opinion, very reasonable. This company has released other characters from Final Fantasy in the past, and based on the owners of these very figures from this brand, Game Toys Studio, I actually saw it in my Facebook page. You guys commented, by the way. Their action figures are great. They are very well made. The face is very nice and way better than what Square Enix makes. So that is very convincing. If you are interested in a 1x6 scale figure of Tifa Lockhart, yet you have heard a lot of horror stories with Square Enix figures. I don't collect Square Enix stuff, but I have heard too many stories about them. Bad stories. So this one over here is a great pre-order, a great purchase really. Okay. We are going to go through the pictures now. This is a very convincing figure of Tifa Lockhart. Assuming they do get the face right, but they have a good track record back then, so I don't see why not. Now we move on to the next one. Chikara Studio, we have Annie Leonhardt from Attack on Titan. I believe this is a 1x6 scale. No price yet, only a $100 deposit. 25 centimeters, yeah, this has to be a 1x6 scale. Now let's have a look at the pictures. I'm not sure if I like the base over here because it looks kind of messy to me. I always welcome diorama bases, you see. I don't like plain plastic disc bases. But at the same time, I think those effect parts, whatever they are, those yellow color effect parts, they don't need to be there. I think the figure would be better without that. And are they including this thing with the figure? I have no idea. Up next, from Yin Yuan Studio, we have Asuma Toki from Blue Archive. No price yet, only an $80 deposit, and this is 1/6 scale. Okay. My question for you guys, does the pose of this figure feel very familiar? And if your answer is yes, your suspicions are valid because this is an exact copy of this original scale figure over here. Yeah, same exact pose, but they adapted it for Asuma Toki from Blue Archive. This is an interesting way to copy another figure. Though, I think the copying is a bit too obvious over here. Yeah. Of course, this is going to be cast of above. That is one of the main reasons why we buy third party, right? This figure, this character rather, Asuma Toki, she is crazy popular. Whenever I post Blue Archive figures and even more so Asuma Toki, yeah, the likes and shares are through the roof. So I have no idea what is going on. Like, wow. Up next, we have another figure of the same character. This one is by Min Studio. Once again, no price yet. And this is also a 1/6 scale. Yeah, 1/6 scale. Also, this pose right here, this leg stretching pose to show off how flexible you are. Nothing new. There are so many figures out there with this pose by now, be it a genuine one or a third party one. Of course, customable once again. If you were to ask me to choose between the two with the one earlier by Yin Yuan Studio, tough choice. Yeah, this is a really tough choice to me. I think I like the one by Yin Yuan Studio a bit more earlier, despite the obvious copying. Yeah, I like that pose a lot more. This one is also a really popular one. There are a lot of pre-orders. Yeah. Up next, okay, this is also one of the best third-party resin figures of the week. We are all depending on third parties for seasonal anime characters now, aren't we? From Honyu Studio, Bochi the Rock Goto Hitori. Okay, the regular version is $287 and the EX version is $384. In both versions, from what I'm aware of, you are still getting the entire package, including the diorama base over there in the background. You're getting everything. The difference is the EX version. The speakers in this figure, they actually work. They are real speakers. So that is very interesting indeed. The problem with this figure right now is very simple. In every single picture shown to us, we can't exactly see the face 100%. Yeah, the pose is fantastic. And the entire package, including the backdrop, everything, this is like the perfect Hitori Goto figure. No question about it, but I want to see what the face is like. That is very important. So despite not being able to see her face, would you place a pre-order on a figure like this? Let me know down in the comments below. Up next, this is an original character. From the Relativity Studio, we have Original Suffering Road to Ultimate Bliss Bitter. What is that supposed to mean? Yeah, things are quite broken when you translate from Chinese to English word for word. Things will sound really weird most of the time. So this one right here, deluxe version is $700 and the normal version is $545. And then you see the deluxe version, you're getting stone back mechanical window structure lighting effect. I have no idea what is that supposed to mean, but then that implies that the pictures we are looking at over here, this is actually the regular version we're looking at. Yeah, this is the regular version, and for the deluxe version, we're getting an additional background or backdrop of some kind with lighting. That is what I understand from the words from the product description at the bottom. But to me, even this standard version looks fantastic already. I'm not sure if I want an additional backdrop behind with some lights just for the figure to look a bit fancier. To me, this is good enough. original character, so it all depends on whether you like the character design. And this is a fairly unique figure on its own. I mean, a girl with tentacles around, not very common, right? The next one here, hair. You already know what this is. Yeah, that doll which you can screw with when you feel very lonely. This is exactly what it is. With the face of Tifa Lockhart from Game Lady Studio, Final Fantasy 1x1 Tifa. Seriously, BJ version. So I suppose that you can shove your rod in her mouth. It is very flexible. I'm not going to check out the pictures, right? I'm lazy to censor it. Go and check out yourself. Link is in the description below. As for the price, version A, $2,478 US dollars, and A plus B is $3,343 US dollars. As for the difference, yeah, I have no idea what are they saying over here. Maybe you're getting an extra head or something like that. I have no idea. If you have the money to burn on something like this, right? Seriously, just go for the more expensive version. Yeah. People who buy things like this, they're at a whole different level. Up next, from Earth Studio, Neon Genesis Evangelion Battle Soryu Asuka Langley. This one is going for $326 US dollars at 1x4 scale. Okay, so at 1x4 scale, $330 or so. This is on the low side for a third-party resin figure. This is a very tall figure for sure. However, once again, I'm not sure if I like the base with this one. This isn't even close to the best Asuka third-party resin figure out there. There are so many resin figures of her, and some are way better, but at least this one is relatively affordable and cheap. Yeah. Up next, from Fantasy Studio, we have Pokemon Greninja Family. This one is going for, yeah, no price yet, only a deposit. There is a primary color version and different color version. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is one of those examples I've mentioned before. A figure which is more like a hot mess. This is too messy to look at. I know that some people like figures like this. They look majestic. They look impressive when you display it as a centerpiece in your collection. But this is way too cluttered to look at. You know, like Ash and all of the Pokemons in this setup over here, they are kind of lost among those effect parts over there. Very cluttered, very messy. I'm not a fan of figures like this. Up next, from Yin Yuan Studio, we have Digimon, Angel Woman, and Lady Devimon. This is, well, Digimon, you don't exactly have a scale, right? Because every Digimon are very different in size. Yeah. So the size of these figures, not exactly mentioned over here, but I think you can expect somewhere around 1x6 scale figures. Okay, so let's take a look at the price. $252 US dollars for each. Yeah. Angel Woman or Lady Devimon. And then there's a deluxe version where you get the nude version. Yeah, Digimon in nude. Kind of a first to me. And then there is a Supreme version as well, going for $336 US dollars. So the difference between each version, yeah, it is mentioned very clearly in the description here. You can go and check it out yourself if you are interested. Up next, from Xianbei Studio, we have Genshin Impact Spanking Kerching. Spanking Kerching. $197 US dollars at 1x6 scale. To be honest with you guys, I'm not sure why I would want this. Seriously, this is pure fan service. And if I want a figure of Kerching, it is very difficult to beat the one made by Apex Toys. That one is affordable and it is a perfect package. A very well made figure, high quality, and a very nice base. That is a very nice package. This one right here doesn't look very convincing to me. Other than you absolutely have to have a figure of Kerching nude. Up next, we have DT and Ume Studios Sword Art Online Asuna Yuki version 2.0, which means they made a figure of Asuna before in the past, or maybe they made the same exact figure before in the past, but they made some changes and putting her up for re-release. This is just my speculation because, yeah, I don't know much about resin figures from the past. This one is $587 US dollars for the White Knight version. And then there is a trendy sweater version for way less, $448. Yeah, this is 1x4 scale, by the way. Okay, so between the sweater version and the White Knight version, of course, if I had to choose, I would go for the White Knight version. But since when are Asuna's boobs this huge? Somehow, whenever you let third-party brands touch any anime or game character, they will inflate their boobs by several times in size. They did it to Miku, they did it to Yae Miko, they did it to pretty much everyone, and now Asuna is next. Up next, from Zenjon Studio, we have Pokemon White Hat Lily, and this one is going for $197. This figure right here is what we call a complete package. You get the main character, her Pokemon, a nice compact diorama base, and that Pokemon card in the background. Yeah. So a complete package for $200 is not too bad. But if $200 is too much for you, then yeah. Kotobukiya is making Pokemon figures for very cheap, like 11,000 to 13,000 yen each. So go for that. This figure of Lily, how do I put it? Her face can look a bit weird from certain angles like this one over here. But then, this is a result of converting a 2D image into a 3D object. So it is to be expected with certain characters. Up next, this is arguably the best resin figure this week. Yeah. Dragonstone Studio, Panty and Stocking. And Gutter Belt, we have Panty Anarchy and Stocking Anarchy. These pair of girls are going for $301. $300 at 1x6 scale, 44 centimeters overall, including the rod. Yeah. Panty, Stocking, and Garter Belt, I'm not very familiar with this series, but what I do know is they have their own fans. There are a lot of fans for this pair of characters. And this pair of girls over here, they don't have many genuine scale figures out there. There were a few companies that make their figures in the past. I don't remember the brand anymore, the manufacturer. However, this pair over here on a pole dancing rod. Yeah, this is what pole dancers use. This is great. When I look at the face expression as well, and the pose, everything, this is a perfect package. Look at how their legs are wrapped together with each other. This is fabulous, and to me, this is undisputedly the best resin figure this week. For only $300, 2 figures by the way. To me, wow. You know, I'm not even a fan of this series Panty, Stocking, and Gutter Belt, but I am seriously intrigued and interested with this figure over here. Up next, we have a very nice figure from One Piece over here. From Yuguang Cultural Creative Design Studio, we have Rorona, Zoro, and Nico Robin together. And the standard version is $380, high-end version. Yeah, you get that additional backdrop over there. $494. This one is 1x6 scale. The standard version is 34 centimeters, high-end version 42 centimeters. This looks fantastic. I've said it before where I have no interest in shonen stuff. I don't collect them, but this setup over here, having a guy carrying the girl like that, this is a very nice pose to have. Simple yet different, and something I've never seen any genuine figure companies out there do. And the last resin figure for today, for this week, is also another Asuna figure from SAO, Secret of Summer Studio. This one is going for very expensive, $527 standard version. And then the pure deluxe version, $429. This one is her purely nude and nothing else. And then there is the deluxe version where you get both as a set for $803. Naturally, this is a 1x4 scale. This one is not as bad compared to that other Yuki Asuna figure earlier. Her boobs are more normal in size. That one was way too big. But then this is also one of those realistic face figures which I'm not exactly a fan of. There were exceptions in the past like Yae Miko. That one was great. But then this one, she looks fine really, but not something I would purchase $800 for both men. Yeah, this one is 60 centimeters tall, including the base. 60 centimeters, this is close to doll-free dream size. And that concludes the figure news for this week, 19th to 23rd of June. Which one are you interested in? For me, 2 figures, that Lolly figure by Omaha as well as that Musashi Alter by KT Model Plus. Yeah, that's about it. And if you enjoyed this video today, please do consider subscribing to this channel and give this video a like to help this channel out. Until then, I'll see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.